If you're grinding to achieve your goals, whether it's running a marathon, running a business, or running your life, WIS gets you. WIS is a tax and accounting firm that goes beyond the numbers, and we're super pumped to be partnered with them. Looking to level up your business or career? Make it happen with WIS. That's WISS.com/JWS. Welcome to the Just Women Sports Podcast, where we talk to the biggest athletes in the world about the untold stories behind their success. I'm Kelley O'Hara, and my guest today is Maggie Steffens. Maggie Steffens is the definition of a living legend. As a teenager, she led the U.S. water polo team to gold at the 2012 Olympics, where she set an Olympic record for goals scored and was named tournament MVP. At the 2016 games, she did it again, winning another gold as the tournament's top scorer. At Stanford University, Maggie won 3 NCAA championships. Today, she ranks second on the all-time scoring list in Olympic history and is currently the captain of Team USA. Dang. Maggie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Quite an intro there. Wow.
That is quite the list of accolades right there. I didn't even, obviously I knew because I prepped for this interview, but so impressive. I'm so excited you're here, and we finally have you back to tell your story. You were on for our bonus episode of season 2, but now you're back and we get to hear the full story.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back.
And you're such a good sport. You came right from the pool. You said you still have sunscreen on right now. So
yep. I definitely reek of chlorine. I've got some, Vertra on my face. So if it looks like my skin is smooth, it's actually a lie. It's my sunscreen.
I mean, that's fantastic. That's all you want in life, right?
Yeah. Right.
Smooth
Take
skin,
it till you make it.
Protected, smooth skin. But yeah, I feel like that's probably the life of a water polo player, always smelling like chlorine.
Oh, always. Yeah.
You
never can get it off.
Yeah, you are our first water polo player. And I mean,
Yay!
From what we just read on the intro, who better to have on? I'm so stoked to have you here. And let's just jump into it. I want to hear about childhood for you. You come from a water polo family and started playing at a young age. So just tell us how you got into the sport.
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Oh, is it?
I talk a lot. So this could take the whole time. I family's like my number one value. And so it's always fun for me to be able to kind of talk about how I got into the sport of water polo and why I'm still in it, because it really does revolve around family. But yeah, so I'm the youngest of 4. The baby, definitely the energetic, annoying one, gotta do it. Probably. That's what amazing. They would say. Very competitive with my older siblings. But yeah, so I'm the youngest of 4 and the youngest of probably not the youngest, but one of the youngest of probably 40 plus cousins.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've got a huge family. My dad is actually from Puerto Rico.
Okay, cool.
So he played on the Puerto Rican national team, played water polo and, all the sports growing up on the island, and then was fortunate enough to be recruited by Pete Catino, who's like, there's a Catino Award in water polo, which is like the Heisman of football. So it's named after that coach. And he got recruited to go play at Cal Berkeley and won a national championship there.
Boo Cal.
Boo Cal. I was such a Cal fan growing up though. Big Cal girl from the Bay Area. So yeah, I grew up, being a big Cal fan because both of my parents went there. So that's where my dad met my mom. And this is kind of where the big family comes together.
Okay.
So my mom is one of 13. Yeah, I know.
Dang.
Scary.
Yeah.
So she's one of 13. That's my snug side. And they're all from Orinda, which is, the East Bay.
Okay.
And all of the brothers played water polo at Cal.
Okay. All of your mother's brothers.
Yeah. So my uncles.
So both
one of
both
them
sides
was,
of your family, big water polo players.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Big water polo. One of my uncles, Peter Snug, actually was an Olympian in 1980 when it got boycotted.
Oh wow!
For water polo. So it's kind of wild to think about all my uncles that played water polo. And yeah, that's kind of where Steffens happened. Was my mom met my dad through Cal water polo, her brothers, her new brother-in-laws were all playing there. And then it happened. We stayed in the Bay Area. They had 4 kids, and I grew up going to water polo games. We used to have water polo balls around the house.
Okay.
And I grew up playing soccer. I was a big soccer girl. And
Okay.
so to me, it was kind of like, what is this yellow ball? I'm used to basketballs, footballs. Like, this is what I see on TV. I would go to all the soccer games.
Yeah.
And then finally I was able to like go watch a Cal water polo game. And that was just the coolest thing. Like,
How
it
old
all
were
came
you?
together for me. I was younger than 8.
Okay.
Because I started playing when I was 8. And my first coach was Marino Toole, who was a 2000 Olympian, and big shout out to the women's team. So for those of you who don't know, water polo was or is the oldest Olympic team sport, but for
I didn't
men.
know that.
Yep.
Okay. Obviously.
So
Okay.
yeah, for men. So in 1900, so first Olympic team sport, and 100 years later, 2000, was the first time women were allowed in the Olympic Games for water polo. So it
Okay.
took 100 years for women to join up alongside those men in the pool.
Yeah. Not a surprising fact.
Not a surprise, but amazing. And my first coach, Marino Toole, was part of that team and part of the women who fought to make that happen. So I was really, really fortunate to kind of have her. Obviously, like, she's an Olympic silver medalist, a pioneer of the sport, a legend of our sport. So to have her as my first coach was a very fortunate, stars aligned for me there. And then 8, she came, started a club team, and all of the kids kind of decided, hey, let's give this yellow water polo ball thing a try.
Yeah.
And fell in love with it. At the time, there was nowadays they have like splash ball, which is like, AYSO soccer and 10 and under,
Yeah.
and they have 12 and under, 14 under, they have all the age groups. But when I first started, at least in my area, we only had 18 under co-ed. So I was a little 8-year-old pretending to play water polo. I basically would just like follow the older kids around and drown and like be like, what's happening? Somebody just kicked me. I'm going to hold on to his foot so I can get to the other side.
Oh my gosh.
But I loved it. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like a little puppy, just like so excited.
That's amazing. Wait, Maggie, hold on. My headphones stopped working. Let me see if they will work in here. Technical difficulties.
No, you're all good.
Okay, can you say something?
Hola.
Hola. Hold on. Why is this working? I'm gonna switch headphones. Hold on a second.
Okay. Looks like a huge hair coming out of my head.
All right. Say something.
Hola.
That worked. Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
No,
all good.
Okay, so you were like destined to play water polo.
In a weird way, yeah. Like, it's definitely in our family's blood. There's no doubt about that.
For sure. So you kind of talked a little bit about your like intro into it. I mean, you have this amazing coach who's your first coach ever.
Mm-hmm.
And but when you first got into it, was it like an instant connection? You were hooked, you were into it, or was it kind of like oh, this is fun, this is what my dad did, this is what a bunch of my, uncles did, but
yeah. It's so long ago, but to be honest, I would want to say it was an instant hook.
okay.
I love sport. I did everything. Like, I think soccer and gymnastics were the first 2 I did. Dabbled, or swimming was first.
Okay.
Started swimming when I was 2.
That's amazing.
It was kind of like, I have 3 older siblings, so they had to figure out when the older kids go to the swim practice, I got to go too,
Exactly.
So followed my siblings there. But yeah, so swimming first, then, gymnastics and dance and soccer. dabbled in basketball. I have a funny story about that. And then water polo kind of fell into my lap when I was around 8. So actually right after the first Olympics in Sydney for women,
Okay.
she came to the Bay Area, started a program, had connections with my dad. And so I was able to meet her. And that was the first, I mean, I had met Olympians, but like I got to see an Olympic medal. And that for me was like, what is happening? You know, like I could feel it, I could touch it, I could see it. And so I think also through that, I had a connection with Mo.
Did you watch the games? Did you watch the 2000 Olympics and watch the team
Not that
play?
I remember live. I don't, maybe my parents were watching, but I mean, I was pretty young, but I have watched at least one of the games, the final, a few times after, because my coach had it on a VHS. And when I was first learning how to play water polo, she would play it on a VHS, and like on one of those, you can picture this exactly. Like, remember in middle school and high school, at least when we were growing up, there was those like thick TVs that rolled around on, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
So
like on a metal, like,
yes, like a metal stand or something. So she had one of those because we trained at a high school when I first started. And so she would put the VHS in there and we would watch it, and she'd go, this is a foul, this is a goal, and kind of talk it through, which was a great way to coach and for me to learn.
For sure.
But it was also cool for me, like the way I was learning was watching the first ever women's Olympic final where my coach won a silver medal. So
that's super cool.
Pretty fortunate there. So it's definitely an instant connection. And I think for me, the family ties helped. Like I said, I loved soccer and basketball and swimming, and water polo for me kind of was like combining all of those into one. And that made it really special because it was, you know, I could take my 3 favorite sports at the time and put it into one, which was water polo. And then made a lot of friends in water polo, and it kind of just took off from there for me personally. Yeah, definitely instant connection for sure.
I love that. I love the visual you get of the combination of those 3 sports. That is water polo.
My God.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, it's water polo, you know, like you said, I'm the first water polo person on the podcast, and a lot of people, you know, probably have never seen the sport or know the rules that well. And every time I explain it, all I have to do is talk about those 2 sports and maybe a little bit of hockey, and people get it, right? Like the way we play is just like basketball: offense, defense. We have a center. You want to get the ball to the center because they're right in front of the cage or the hoop. And that's where a lot of the action happens. But then you have outside shooters, and you drive to the hoop. Just like in water polo, you drive to the goal, lots of ball movement. There's picks. And then on defense, you have your center guard, and you can play zone. Just like basketball, you can play press, right? But then you kind of add in the soccer component, which is, okay, the obvious one is we have a goal and a goalie.
Yeah.
Same rules. We have offsides. It's called a 2-meter line, and same rules there. You have like crossing the ball and being in passing lanes and kind of working in triangles. So the way you see the game, I think, is really similar with soccer and basketball, kind of in the way you work together as a team and moving the ball away with the ball or without. And then we have penalties, the same as soccer, and it goes into a shootout, same as soccer. So it's very, very similar. And I honestly think I'm lucky I played soccer for so long, and even basketball, because it helped with my intelligence game for water polo.
Sure.
It's cool.
How long did you play soccer and basketball until you just focused on water polo?
Yeah. So I did swimming all the way through college, or up until college. And then basketball, I quit. I'll tell you this story. So I got to play at the Warriors halftime. It was probably like 2002 or something. Warriors had a losing record for sure. So there was like no one there, but I was a huge Warriors fan ever since growing up.
Pre-Steph times for sure.
Pre-Steph, but I thought I was Steph Curry in this halftime event. So we had like won our CYO, basketball league I was in 3rd grade. And so we got to play at halftime. That was like the halftime show. And I just remember being in the Warriors stadium and thinking it was so cool, so excited. We were playing against fifth graders, so they're huge. And I was point guard and I was dribbling up the court and I was at half and they were like, Maggie Steffens, like with the ball. And I got so excited and nervous. I just shot it like
How far did it go?
Definitely airballed. Yeah. And it was one of those where I was like, all right, like defense, like my bad, like, just kind of walk it off. And then I think from then on, I was like, that might've been my last hurrah. That was probably no more basketball. And then I did soccer up until I was about 14. Okay. And in my head, it was like the biggest decision of my life. I was choosing to, put my cleats away. And I had, soccer was definitely kind of like my first love. Wanted to be like Mia Hamm. I was number 9, of course, as every girl was. And it got to the point in soccer and in water polo where I needed to kind of make a decision, which I don't advise most kids to do at this age, at 13, 14. But fortunately, I was kind of on an accelerated track. It all worked out because I did join the USA national team for water polo at 15.
Yeah. You actually, you don't think like 13 and 14 is the age to kind of, because I'm the same way. I think kids should play a bunch of different sports and shouldn't pigeonhole themselves into one or focus on one, just because, like you said, you learn so many different things from playing different sports. But I feel like 13 and 14 is like I was 14, I think, when it was basketball or soccer, and I went soccer.
Yeah. I mean, especially as you're heading into high school and but yeah, I remember it being like the biggest decision of my life. I was crying. I had to call my teammates and it just got to the point, like it was pretty black and white for me though. It was, okay, I had the Olympic dream in both sports. But in soccer, it got to the point where I loved the game and I loved learning and I loved my teammates. But with water polo, I loved practice. Like I loved excuse my language, but like all the shitty parts, like I loved it. Yeah. And I really could see, I had like kind of made a national team on water polo. I had done like ODP as well in soccer. But I don't know, my path just, it kind of like, there was like a golden road with water polo that I was like, there it is, like I just have to decide to choose it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think that for me kind of helped make it a little bit black and white. Like all the bad parts of water polo, I loved. And like, if I had to run around the field and do like, okay, run around the 6 and run around the 18 and then run around to half and then run around I was like, I just want to play a game.
You
like
didn't
I'm
want
good.
Any of that. Yeah. So
I'm good.
You were, that's cool that at that age, that was kind of what helped you make the decision, was this idea that you were passionate about the technical, the grind of the sport. And I mean, mine was just like, I'm better at soccer. I'm really not that good at basketball. I'm going to play soccer. I mean, it sounds like you were also very, very good at water polo. So at what point were you like, you say 13, 14, you made the decision between soccer and water polo, but at what point with water polo did you think like, oh, I have the it factor? Like I can't, like the Olympics is something that is in my reach.
Yeah. In terms of the Olympics, I would say I kind of have like 2 moments. One was when I think I was like 11 and I made my first national team, which is like not a national team. You're 11, but it's like the cadet is whatever. I'll take it. I got a USA shirt.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But it was, I think we were called like the futures team. It basically was same as soccer where you do age group national teams. And it was about 40 girls and I made it for 2 years, the age group 2 years above me.
Okay.
And I remember I got to go to the pool, which I still train at, beautiful Los Alamitos. Not so beautiful, but is what it is.
You've seen it a lot in your lifetime, I'm sure.
It's a army based pool. So yeah, I was 11. I got to go to the pool and I was like top 40 of the age group above me. And I got a USA water polo suit and a USA shirt That was like what we got. And I just remember being at that training camp, and it meant the world to me. Like, it was the coolest experience of my life. I was so proud and honored to get a USA suit. Like, even at that young of an age, I think my perspective of representing your country, like, I don't know if it was from having an Olympic coach, it like really hit me hard. And so I think in that moment, I like got a little bit of the taste, and I wanted more. It was,
love it.
That was enough for me to realize, all right, like, this, I don't know if it's going to be a reality, but for me, it's worth chasing. Like, for me, it's worth giving everything I can to come back here again, whether that's just 1 more year, 2 more years, 3 more years. Like, I got that taste, and I absolutely, I was humbled by it to look at. I remember, I don't know how I can compare this, but like, there was a girl there who's 2 or 3 years older than me who had made the team, and she could do a skip shot, which is when you throw it, instead of throwing it straight into the goal, it skips off the water and goes up. And to do that, like, at least I was 11, I couldn't do that. And I'd only see that in college games. And I just remember looking at that one girl and be like, she is the best player I've ever seen. She was like 13.
Yeah.
She can skip the ball. Like, oh my God, how do I do that? Mind blown. And it was super humbling for me. I was like, wow, there are girls all over the country who could whoop my ass. And I was like, I want to learn from them. Like, I want to be them, like, how do I get there? How do I be you, but in like my own way? And so that, I think, was my first taste. And kind of, like I said, I wasn't sure if it'd be a reality, but it was like, all right, like, this is the path I want to be on. Like, I knew that for sure. There was no, I don't know, like, even thinking back, there was no question in my mind at that point. Like, this is a path I want to chase and be on.
Yeah.
And then the time I realized that the Olympics, I think, could be a reality was being a fangirl in 2008 at the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
So my first Olympics, I was a fangirl for my sister. I think I had talked about this last time, but my older sister, Maggie Steffens, who also went to Stanford, she's like typical oldest child, has set the standard and bar so high. Like, she went against the Cal thing. And that's why I ended up going to Stanford, because Jess decided, this is my path, and went to Stanford. And once I saw Stanford, I was like, oh, what have we been doing all this time? Why are people wearing blue and gold?
Exactly.
Let's get that cardinal. Come on.
Yeah. So wait, how far apart are you guys in age?
She's 6 years older.
Okay.
So she definitely like helped raise me. But she's like my big older sister, has been my role model ever since I was a kid. Still look up to her. And she went to Stanford. She played soccer. I played soccer. She did water polo. Then I was like, I'll do water polo. She went to Stanford. I went to Stanford. She did the national team. She has set the standard, and then I just try to follow her and do it my way,
Yeah.
But yeah, so she was on the 2008 Olympic team. And I got to be a fangirl in Beijing.
You got to go over there.
Yeah, with my whole family. So I was with my 2 other siblings, Charlie and Teresa, who both played water polo, but at Cal. And my parents, obviously, and we went to every single game. I got to go to like basketball and beach volleyball and other stuff as well. But we were obviously at every water polo game. And I had never felt nerves like that. And I wasn't even playing. Like, I was just a fangirl for my big sis, and it was so inspiring to watch her play and watch, Team USA. And we watched their final, which unfortunately they won the silver, or lost gold, however you want to see it. To me, I felt, being an athlete and like being that connected with my sister, watching that game, for me, I could feel how they felt, without, of course, like, I wasn't in there, but my empathy was really strong with Jess, obviously, and with watching that team. And I remember the game ended, obviously sad. And my dad, I have a really strong connection with my dad, water polo wise. And I'm also take his my Latina side very strong with him. He looked at me after they had lost. And we kind of had this moment where we like stared at each other. I was 14, 15 at the time. And he goes like, now it's your turn.
Really?
And it was kind of one of those moments when like somebody tells you something and you just like deep down, you're like you're right.
You
like
feel it in your
like
core.
I could feel it. Like I feel it now. My dad's name is Carlos. And most of the time when he tells you something, you're like, oh, you feel it, you know?
Yeah.
And that for me was when the Olympics became a reality, because not only was I there, right? I was a fan. I got to see it, you know, I got to watch what it was like. I got to see and talk to my sister and see these girls, like the girls on that team. I had their signatures on my wall at home. You know, these were my idols. And to watch them go through that, I was like, this can't happen again, you know, like, and the next summer or the next fall, so 2009 fall, I was invited to play with that team.
Wow. That's
and
incredible.
Of course,
that's so, you're 14 and you're having these feelings about playing for your country, representing your country, and also figuring out a way to help your country win. That's crazy that you're that young and feeling that way.
Yeah. I definitely like the stars were aligned. Like I do believe having Mo as a coach and having the resources I did, having all my uncles and aunts who played water polo, my dad, of course, having my older siblings, like it was easier for me to get that perspective and feel that, I think. So I was definitely fortunate in that way and privileged in that way. But yeah, it was pretty surreal to kind of have that moment. And then the next fall, a little over a year later, I got to play with most of the women that I had watched. So there were 8 returners from 2008.
What was
and
that
I was like jaw drop. Like, I think the best way to put it is, all right, this is a good like metaphor of it. So I didn't drink coffee at the time.
Okay. Like most 15-year-olds don't do.
Like most 15-year-olds. I was in high school and we came to SoCal for a tournament called Holiday Cup. And me and a couple other like younger players, Kylie Neuschel, Mel Seidemann, who, you know, had been called up to play with a, you know, real senior team. And I show up to the first game, so nervous, like, because for me, it wasn't about like necessarily me playing well or me playing I wasn't concerned about that. I just wanted to impress them. Like I wanted to earn their respect. I wanted to, that was to me what was most important. Like definitely my coach, but more those women, because they were my idols. Like I had their signature on my wall at that time. So it's like, okay, act cool, but also like not, you know.
And this was you playing against them, or this was you going?
No, this was me playing with them.
Okay.
Play with them.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was kind of like a rebuilding year. So they, you know, Adam Krikorian had called up a few younger players to play with the senior team. And yeah, I show up to the high school where the game was being played. I think it was like Canada, Australia were there. I don't really remember the other teams, maybe Holland. And everyone had a coffee bean. And I was like, no, sorry. Coffee bean is like a Starbucks. It's like a pizza.
I know what you're saying.
Everyone had one coffee
like,
bean. That would be the weirdest. I think I would have maybe joined the wrong team.
That's definitely a water polo thing. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, so coffee bean is a Pete's, a Starbucks, a Phil's.
Yes.
Whatever. They had a coffee. Everyone had a coffee in their hands, and everyone was wearing like their cool parka, whatever, and like looked so mature and professional and like adult. And like I was used to going to high school games where we like hold hands and we're like, yay, you know, like not at all how I had ever walked into a water polo game before.
Okay.
And everyone had their coffee and was just like chit-chatting and whatever. And so the next day before the game, I was with my sister and I was like, Jess, like, I have to show up with a coffee.
I was gonna say, did you go get a coffee?
I went and got coffee. I'd never had coffee before. And I was like, well, what do I get? Like, I've never had coffee. She was like, well, like the easiest thing to start with is like a white chocolate mocha before a game. So I'm like, perfect. Okay, sir, can I get one white chocolate mocha? Show up to the game like feeling just like a little bit more a part of the team.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that
Jazz does well because clearly I already have a lot of natural energy.
Yeah.
But that like to me, that was like my first, like, that's what I picture every time I think about joining the national team, was just like, how do I blend in? Like, how do I fit into this team of like all stars and rock stars? And like, how do I earn their respect? That, in my family, effort and respect are very, those are high on our list. And so I was like, okay, I just need to figure out like, how do I be a part of this team?
I love that. That's adorable, but also like, I feel like
and you can see it now, right? Like, you can see when a young girl like joins a team, it's kind of nice to have that perspective. Like, they're probably scared, but I was scared out of my mind. Oh my God. But I was like, well, I mean, just got to do as they do, and that tournament, I think I was fortunate to gain some respect in a weird way. I got one of the games where I play in Australia. I think this girl still plays, and she punched me in the face.
On purpose?
Maybe it was on accident. I don't know. Like I said, I'm annoying, so I probably was annoying her. And I'm a young player, so it's like, who are you? And I got a little love tap on my eye, and I earned an offensive. So the ball turned over. It was our ball. And like, one eye was swollen, and I'm like trying to swim. I'm like on the verge of tears, but I'm like, no, like, show them you're tough, show them you're strong. And I ended up, the goalie passed it to me, and I like went down and scored the goal, like literally within 10 seconds. And then my coach pulled me out and, had an ice pack on my eye and everything. And I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that girl punched me in the face. Like, that helped show the girls, okay, yeah, I had a lot to learn. Wow. Like, I was definitely nowhere near where I needed to be playing with that team, but at least I could show my passion. I could show my effort. I could show them my respect I had for the game and for the team and for those girls. So in a weird way, it kind of worked out for me.
It was an enjoyable punch to the face.
Yeah. I was like, I'll take it.
I'll take it. How do you feel like, because I mean, 15, 16 is very young to be playing with professionals, women in this sport. Do you feel like you were a confident kid growing up? Do you just feel like you embodied that, or was it something else? You feel like you kind of learned on the fly?
I think it's a combination of both. I think I have better perspective on it now, just being older and going through this. I honestly don't know how I would have answered that question like 10 years ago. But I would say, kind of looking back, I definitely, like I said, I was definitely privileged to have the family I did, because they helped instill confidence in me. They were my biggest challengers and still are. Like, there's always better. And that, like, my dad's quote, he has a lot of quotes. He's Puerto Rican, so everything is like a metaphor. But yeah, everything. So we had a lot of quotes, but the first one I'll say is, never forget your last name. Remember your last name.
Yeah.
And that has like stuck with me forever. And I think that like helped me realize there's more to what you do. There's more to what you're living on in your own head. And that helped me kind of gain this confidence as well of, okay, every time I go do something, I got to remember my last name. I got to represent the values that my family has instilled in me. And I'm not just representing myself, I'm representing something bigger than myself. And I think to have had that at such a young age helped me getting onto the national team and being comfortable in that space. Because I did realize, when you're here, when you're representing Team USA, you're representing a bigger team than yourself. And an even bigger team within that. And I was very proud to do that, but I also knew how much work that took, because in order to remember the Steffens name and every day I left my house, kind of have that in my head, that took work, and I would mess up all the time, as I still do now. But to be able to kind of come back to that and be your home base, I think helped me with that realization of, there's always more to give, and to always give your best. So I may be giving my best, but there's probably more, or the next day I can do better. Because it's not just for yourself, you're doing it for other people. Like teamwork, family, those are 2 in the same for me. So I think that helped me with even my confidence. And then I think as well, he always says this now, and my whole family is like this. Jess got her MBA. Like she's still doing all these amazing things, setting the bar too high. But he always talks about the biggest room in your house should be room for improvement. And I think
I've heard that one, and I love that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. And it just puts things into perspective, because if you can always realize, okay, you can be proud of what you've done, you can take confidence from your successes and your failures, but there's more to grow. You always have more to learn. And with that kind of helped me with my fear of joining the team, where I had all these professionals around me and all of these all-stars. Was, all right, I got lots of room to grow. It's not like I'm jumping into this team and I have to show them that I'm ready now. I need to show them that I'm committed. I need to show them I'm dedicated. I need to show them my respect. I need to show them my passion. And then I need to show them that I'm willing to grow, that I'm willing to learn, so I can be who they need me to be in 3 years, Well,
it definitely worked.
It worked.
And it paid off.
It definitely worked.
You went in with the senior team at 15-16, and that was what, 2009, the summer after 2008.
Yeah. So 2010, I would say, was like my first real summer with the team.
Okay. And that's, 2 years out from 2012 Olympics. You're still in high school. You're competing with the full national team, and you end up making the team for the 2012 Olympics.
Yeah.
What was that kind of arc of 2 years like in terms of making the team?
A lot of growth.
Yeah.
And it's almost, I feel like sometimes it's hard for me to even see it, because when you're in it, like, all I could see was what I needed to do. Like, I was not in a leadership position. I was not a veteran. I wasn't making hard decisions, right? All I was focused, which now I understand they were doing.
So much more work.
So much more work. But at the time, like, I was young. All I had to focus on really was how to bring my best self, so that I was the best self for the team.
Totally.
Like having the team, always having the team in mind, but realizing that I had a lot that I needed to learn, and I needed to get stronger. I needed to get bigger. I needed to get more intelligent. I needed to get faster, all these things. I needed to get better connected with the team, all of these things. And so that's all I had to focus on, which seems like a lot, but looking back, it was kind of a blessing in disguise being the youngest. There were other, like Mel Sideman obviously was there as well. So I had some like younger girls with me, but it was kind of like, all right, I just got to stay in my lane, figure out what that means. Like, what is my role? Still don't know, but figure it out and continue to earn the respect and trust from these women, because that's what's most important.
Yeah.
And now I kind of, with some perspective and going through this, I realize how much the older girls were doing for me to feel that comfortable. So, they had all that pressure of coming back to the Olympics, and they had won silver. What were they going to do now? Right. Whereas for me, I was like,
you were just, it's a very liberating thing being
it is
a younger, or kind of a rookie, a younger player, because like you said, you just focus on, if you focus on your development, and really that's the best thing you can do for the team.
Definitely. And I think too, I had my sister. So Jess, I got to play with Jess in 2012. And that was, I've said this before, but she was like my secret superpower. To join a team at that young of an age. Like I didn't know what rent was. Like I didn't know bills. Like I didn't necessarily know how to like cook. I couldn't make mature decisions necessarily, like I had to get an apartment at 17, I shared it with my sister, but I was living on my own. I was away from my family. I didn't have any friends really in Southern California. So all I had was the team. That was it. And it's kind of funny now, like all the distractions you have, but at the time, like I lived, breathed, dreamt the Olympics. One, because that's the person I am, but also that was it. That was all I had. I didn't have my family down there other than my sister. So then I realized like my sister was the one taking all the pressure off of me. She allowed me to still feel free, and she challenged me every day. Like we would get fights every day in the pool because she could be the hardest on me.
Okay.
Especially 6 years older, but at the end of the day, when the Olympics came, she had prepared me and she had allowed me, and same as the, other women on the team, they had kind of let me be myself and let me grow. And I think allowing me to have that space to grow, I didn't realize it or appreciate it at the time because I didn't know they were doing that for me.
Well, again, like it's crazy you didn't realize it, or you don't. Perspective is very interesting, especially as a professional athlete, as you go through your career and realize what people are doing once they get older, what rookies, what it's actually like to be a rookie. You don't see it when you're in it. But they obviously did a good job because you go to London 2012 Olympics, you make the team, you go to London, and you have this insane tournament. So what were the expectations for yourself and for the team going into the games? Because silver happened in 2008, and you kind of just touched on it a little bit about, they felt this pressure of winning silver, wanting gold. So what were those expectations like leading into the games? In the wise words of Beyonce, don't try to lessen yourself for the world. Let the world catch up to you. True leaders know that. To be successful, you have to set the pace and run your own race. And sometimes that means running a race inside an empty stadium. WIS is a modern tax and accounting firm that cheers on the underdog. They're the coach you need by your side to support all your business needs. Whether you're looking to scale your business, sell your business, or just you have questions, WIS is your one-stop financial expert. They're also into tech, entrepreneurship, and, well, obviously, Beyonce. Expect the unexpected at WIS. That's WISS.com/JWS.
There are a lot for sure. And
you felt them.
I felt them, but in a different way than I'm sure a Brenda Villa, Heather Petrie. They were 3-time Olympians. This was their 4th Olympics, had never won gold. My sister, all the 2008 girls, I'm sure it was different than what they felt. I'm not sure. I know. And I think too, that was, I will say, one other blessing in disguise for me was my optimism and the way my Kylie Neuschel, one of my teammates, always would make fun of me because she's like, you almost live in like magic world in your head. Isn't that a great place to live? It's a great place to live. And I think I will say I've had this conversation about other younger players on the team, and there's 2 ways to look at things, right? Like I was fortunate to look at, even when somebody yelled at me or something, I was like, oh my God, they care about me. Like they want me to get better. Whereas somebody else might hear that and be like, F this, like I'm doomed. Or like me being okay to be myself. It was, they had helped create that space, but also I kind of lived in this fantasy world where, like we'll win, we'll figure it out, like very optimistic. So I definitely would say there are always like 2 sides to the story, depending on your mindset. So I was fortunate with that. So heading into the Olympics, I kind of kept that mindset, right? Like I was really lucky to not necessarily have the pressure of a leader or a returner, because I also didn't understand that quite yet. But what I will say is, because I had gone to 2008 and because I had been there and watched and like really felt what I thought they felt in the pool in 2008 when they had lost, it was easier for me to get to the Olympics and and like feel what it meant to give your all to it, because I had kind of felt in a weird way that I had lost the gold in 2008 as well. That's
crazy, but also so
yeah.
cool. Like, it's like, kind of
Yeah.
gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, it gives me good sense too, because I think about my sister especially, but then I also watched a lot of those girls, Lauren Wenger, Betsy Armstrong, Brenda, and Heather, who I mentioned had been to 4 Olympics, never won gold. And so for me, I kind of felt this weird like opportunity to make a difference. Like what I for me, and I had said this to the girls before, it's kind of weird to think back, like I wasn't shy to say this. I probably overstepped my boundaries many times, and I apologize to all my teammates in 2012. I'm sure I overstepped my boundaries, but I didn't know. I was just trying to like be a part of the team.
Yeah.
But for me, it was, I wanted to make sure that never happened to them again. Like I felt that, and to have looked in my sister's face, and like I was so ecstatic to hold a silver, and of course she's so proud of it, but you had lost in that moment, right? And
For
so to have seen that face and remember that and see those other women who were my idols, people I respect and love and trust, now I got to be by their side. Like now I was their teammate. And so what am I going to do to make sure that that does not happen again? Like what am I going to do so that we don't have to see those faces again, or have those feelings? And so for me, that was the pressure kind of that I had. Not necessarily like, oh, we have to do this because we did it last time or anything like that. It was like more of a want and more of a passion and a fight. And that helped me stay really present, I think, holding on to that. And then at the same time, like I had dreamt of being an Olympian since I was a kid. Like we had done Olympic Day in preschool, and I was like, yes, this is it, And so I was very much so the young, passionate kid that I'm sure the older teammates at the time, like now that I'm a veteran, like you look at those younger teammates and you can see the passion and the hunger and the energy. And that's what I was just trying to give. Like I was just, this is all of me. I'm giving all of me to this. And let's hope that my coach, my teammates, and myself have been prepared enough that once we give our all and our full selves, like it'll work out.
It's enough. Yeah.
For sure. And
we have very similar Olympic or like
experiences.
First Olympic experiences, because I wasn't as young as you by any means, but I remember the feeling of the big, like obviously, like you said, watching the Olympics growing up, you want to win a gold medal, you want to be an Olympian on the top of the podium as a kid, and to realize that dream. But really what was deep down driving me was like, don't mess it up for the older girls. Like my teammates, that this might be their last Olympics. Like just don't blow it as a kid for them. So well,
and even I'm sure at the time, like you were kind of thinking don't blow it, but I'm sure it was also this feeling of like, I'm going to fight for them. And I think those are like, because I was feeling the same way, but that's like what you fight for now is, okay, in my head, sometimes I can find myself being like, okay, don't make a mistake, or like, don't mess up, don't lose. Like we've been so successful, or all these things. And that's good to have that mindset. But also I'm like, I love that 19-year-old Maggie was like, I'm going to fight for you. Like, I'm going to give it my all, like, and being able to balance between the two of those is, I'm sure as many athletes, that's the reality, is just finding that mindset.
I feel like that's a better way to look at it, as opposed to don't blow it. Don't focus on that. Focus on, I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to win for you. I'm going to, get this done for you. And you absolutely did. I mean, you crushed it as you were a teenager at these games, and you were named the tournament MVP. You guys win the gold medal. You scored 21 goals in total. Like, I'm just looking at these numbers, tournament record. You guys in the semifinals against Australia, you go into overtime. So first tell me, what did that feel like for you?
Well, which part?
The overtime part.
So overtime, the way that happened was we were winning by 1 with 1 second left.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm stressed already just thinking
I
about
know. My coach is going to hate that I'm talking about it. So we're winning by 1 with 1 second left. And I don't know if this is the same. This is probably the same rule in basketball as is all water polo rules. But our coach, who is probably going to be like, to me in the future, people are going to be talking about him like Wooden, in terms of water polo for sure. But he called a timeout and we didn't have full possession of the ball.
Oh no.
So this led to like 5 minutes of the refs, talking, and no one knew what was going on. I had a bloody nose. So like, I thought it was my fault. I thought like I had done something wrong. Everyone's just like confused. And then all of a sudden they call a penalty.
Oh my gosh.
So the other team, got a penalty with 1 second left and they score it. So that's how we go into overtime.
Okay.
So let me take you back to 2011. We had played Canada in the final at Pan American Games, which would give our bid for the Olympics. If you win, you go to the Olympics. If you lose, you get one more chance, but in Europe. Like, it's going to be really hard.
Playoff series. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, like, this was the Olympic bid. We were losing by 4 going into the fourth quarter, and one of my teammates, Courtney Mathewson, just like balled out. She had like how my Olympics kind of was, like that was her in like one quarter. She just like took the team and was like, we're going to the Olympics, And so Courtney Mathewson like stepped up for us, came back, we're tied. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but then same thing. There was a penalty with like 3 seconds left to go in the game for them to win.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
And our goalie, Betsy Armstrong, like probably one of the best goalies in history, blocks it.
Amazing.
So that sets us off into overtime and then into a shootout. And we go into a 4-round shootout. So like we're in the record books for like longest shootout. And that was to go to the Olympics. Wow. We end up winning that game. And it was like 29-28 was the final. And so it was kind of weird when that happened in the Olympics. And it was different. Like we went into overtime because of an unknown. We had no idea it was because of our coach. And they had scored the penalty not to win or tie us, to tie us, sorry. And so in a weird way, we kind of were like, guys, we've been here. Like, we know what to do. There is nothing that can get in our way of getting to that gold medal game. Like, we've been through this. We're a team. We know exactly what we need from each other. And it's kind of interesting. Like, I've watched that game back. It's one of my favorite games to watch. Like, if there are water polo kids on here, watch that game, because it's Australia was one of the best in the world. We played out of our minds, but all just like toughness and defense, nothing necessarily like beautiful, but just like a defensive team that knew they could do it and like knew what it took. And
you've been there before.
We've been there.
That's the thing about sports. It's like, once you go through it, even though it's really scary in the moment and like hard,
so scary, so hard.
When you come up against it again, you're like, oh, I know what to do here.
Yeah. And so that's kind of, it was really cool too. We had full ownership of the team at that point. Like, our coach was distraught. Of course, he probably was feeling guilty and scared because it was his call, And I remember he was kind of talking to other coaches and all of that. And it was just us. Like, it was just, we got to the wall, the women, and we got to the side and we were all talking like, this is what we're going to do. And our coach finally came over. But it was kind of cool. Like, we took full ownership as like the women.
Yeah.
And that was like so inspiring to me as a player as well. And we ended up winning by 2 to go to the gold medal game. And then after that, it was kind of like, like,
we got this.
Nothing is getting in our way. Like, we are here. We are loud. We are proud. Like, we are doing it. And
totally. And you guys won the gold medal game 8-5.
We did. Yeah, we won the gold medal game 8-5. And we were like, really, our defense was really, really strong. I remember that probably more so than anything. But yeah, that game was one of my favorite games ever. Obviously we won. I don't know how I'd feel if we had lost, but I think we had just come through so much adversity in that one game, but we're able to use our teamwork and unity and toughness and our experience in the past to really like come together stronger. And that showed for sure. So that game was scary, but really a really
scary,
unique experience.
But now one of your favorites.
But now one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's crazy how you go into tournaments and then sometimes the hardest game, it doesn't even end up being the final, but you just like you just have to prevail regardless of like what round you're in, semifinals, quarterfinals, whatever. And you know, I guess like you said, you go through that game against Australia, you know, get through overtime, win, and then roll up to Spain. Just like you guys don't even have a chance. For winning this.
Well, and it's funny too. Like, so I love watching women's sports, all sport really. But like even though I was watching the women's basketball tournament, NCAA tournament, and even on the men's side, and it's like sometimes they'd have this huge upset or like have this like game winner, and then I would think about some of those games that we've had in quarterfinals or semis, and it's like, okay, take pride from that, but like don't get too high. Like that's not why you're here. You're not here to win a quarter. You're not here to win a semifinal. Like you're here for the gold medal. And so that was kind of cool too. I remember after that game, like we got together as a team like after, and we don't do, you know, I don't know, you don't really like shake hands after games or anything like that. Sometimes you do. But I remember after that game, we got together in a huddle, our team, like just us, and we did, you know, team on 3 in the sense of like, our job's not done. You know, it wasn't like, yay, we did it. It was like, all right, good work. Like our job's not done. And that was so cool for me. I was like, all right, like I love this team. This is sweet. And it ended up working out.
Okay. So you're again, I keep coming back to this, but you're a teenager. It's your first Olympics. You win the tournament MVP. Like at what point was it during the games that you were like, I am the best damn player in the pool right now? Or were you not even focused on that? It was like afterwards.
No,
you took a deep breath,
I still don't think I was the best. Like,
okay, you know what I mean though. Like,
here's the thing. Okay. So basically before the Olympics, I think the most I had ever scored in a 6-game tournament, which is how long the Olympics are and most of our tournaments are. I think like one tournament I scored 11 goals. Jeez. And I was like, whoa, like that's so many goals. Like that's really cool. So that wasn't my role, right? Like I didn't come to the Olympics being like this sharpshooter or like scoring lots of goals for our team. You ask any of my teammates, like that wasn't my role. I didn't feel that. You know, I'm a hard worker, I'm tough and all, you know, I was a 2-meter defender, but kind of like utility player, lots of energy. So drive, whatever. Not like, oh, look to Maggie, she'll score. So the most I'd ever scored in a 6-game tournament was 11.
Okay.
And so the fact that I scored 21 at the Olympics, and I think I missed like 6 times. It was stupid. Like I was possessed. I don't know. I was possessed.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about like flow state, right? But I had not been that. So it was kind of weird. I kind of talked about this in terms of that pressure. And I talked about this with my sister, but it was almost like my older teammates and even younger, you know, Mel and Annika and Courtney, the girls I kind of come in with for our first Olympics. It was kind of like, I had been so well prepared by my coach and my teammates and, you know, tough on and challenged and kind of had been through everything, but they had given me the space and they had given me the confidence that, and I think about my sister a lot for this, is that by the time the Olympics came and when that first whistle blew, I kind of felt free. Like they had provided the space for me to I talk about my sister, like it was almost like my sister was like building my wings, you know? And like I hadn't figured out how to use them. And then
but you did come that
but then once they were needed, it was like, all right, Maggie, like now we need you. And I was able to figure out how to fly. Like, what did that mean? And the fact that I scored that many goals too, one, like I was just open. Like I was in the right place at the right time because I was unknown. Like I had not, so I look at some of the stuff and it's like, who's Maggie? So you're worried about Brenda Villa, you're worried about Lauren Wanger. They were taking all the pressure. They were taking all the heat. They were getting all the attention. And then there I was, and they were able to just hit me, and all I had to do was put it in the goal. Right.
Yeah,
so
you didn't miss.
I was fortunate to not miss. It's definitely focused.
Yeah.
And so for sure, like I was in the right place, right time, and my teammates took advantage of that, and they took all the pressure away from me, which is amazing. I think that's what makes teams so insane is like, cool, I got MVP and like got to score these goals or whatever, but that's not why we won.
Yeah.
Like they were why we won, and I just figured out how to put it away.
For sure.
For sure. And I think that's what's so cool. And it was kind of weird after the first game we played Hungary. I think the final score was 14-13. I'm also weird. I like remember every detail about every game. My teammates are like, how do you remember that? I'm like, I don't know. And I had never had this happen to me before in my life. And I don't think I've had it happen since. I wish, but the whistle blew for our first ever Olympic Games. I thought I was going to like throw up. I thought I was going to, I don't know, all the feels.
Okay.
And I remember we got in our team huddle in a circle, and it was like, USA, USA. And I'm just like so scared, but excited. And we're in our huddle, and this was what we did before each game. And I remember our coach just kind of like nodded, and then we all just like started nodding, and it was that moment of silence, of eye contact, everything, the sound just blurred, and like all I could think about and all I could feel was our team, and our coach was like, all right, like now we're here, like we've done it, like now we're here, just go play. And I think that's exactly what I needed to hear and feel. And the second the whistle blew, like I blacked out. Like I don't remember. I remember every detail of every game. Like I don't remember anything of that game. And then I remember afterward, I like passed through the media. I never get stopped for media. Like, who are you? And they asked me like, do you know you scored like 7 goals or whatever? And I was like, no.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, thank God we won. Like I'm exhausted. I didn't remember anything. And so I think that just shows the state I was in, but also how my teammates allowed me to be in that state. And now I'm like, I want to get back there, like for as an athlete, you're searching for that. So it's pretty cool, but like, don't let the numbers fool you. It wasn't like I was doing this all the time. It was a bit of a freak accident.
Well, what was the feeling getting a gold medal placed around your neck?
Oh man. I mean, just even like having this conversation is getting me so psyched because
is it getting you pumped for the summer?
Yeah, because it's hard right now with like we haven't played a game. And so even just being able to kind of reflect on those experiences that you've had. And for me, it's always been about the team and getting to share it. And, like I said, I'm the baby. I love to like share things. And so to be able to share that experience, not only with teammates that I had grown up admiring, but had been able to earn their trust and respect and love, really. But then to also do it with my sister was, irreplaceable. That was a moment for me that I'll never forget. And I remember she was number 8 and I was number 6, which has worked out because right away in sync, we panned and were able to find my family in the stands and just share that moment with them. And, like take you back to that quote that my dad always says, like, remember your last name or represent your last name. Like here we were on the podium at the Olympics representing Team USA, but also we got to represent the Steffens name and do it together. And
I just got goosebumps again.
So that was pretty, I mean, she was like my secret superpower, like I said. And so that was really, really special. And I think, once you do get like Olympic gold is, I don't know, it was almost like the first time I could breathe. It was like, they put it on and I was like, like, okay, I'm going to let it all hit me now. But up until that moment, you're like holding that breath, because you're like, you need to give everything you have. And then if you are fortunate enough to get it, it was almost like the anthem goes on, the flag goes up, you see your family, you look at your teammates, you're like holding each other, and it's like, you can really feel the joy.
Yeah, you feel the joy. That I had the sigh of relief as soon as the whistle blew. I was like, thank God we won. Like, and it's over, and no one can take this away from me, and I'm gonna be given a gold medal. But I totally feel you on that. And that's so special that you got to share it with your sister, and like you had such an insane tournament at such a young age, and it was the first gold for, women's water polo. And
for Brenda and Petey, like my teammates, it was cool,
So cool. Well, you deferred going to Stanford so that you could go play in the 2012 Olympics.
Yeah.
And so do you end up going to Stanford that fall right after the Olympics?
Yeah.
So what was it like walking onto campus as a freshman with a gold medal, being like, oh, no big deal, guys.
It was weird because I think since I had joined the team so young and had kind of like moved out, I didn't get to do a lot of, like, I didn't do high school graduation. I was in and out my senior year because I was training. So I missed out on a lot of like young, I don't know, like the hype of turning 18 and like being a freshman in college and like your senior year of high school. I was lucky to still do some things. I got to go to senior ball, but I had missed out on a lot of that. And I had been around, average age probably of like 26 for a year and a half. And so it was kind of weird. Like when I came back to Stanford, it was like, oh my God, like we're all the same age. Yeah. I don't have to worry about red. Like, this is amazing. Look how much ice cream they have at the dining hall. I can make an Oreo milkshake every day. So it was really, really cool. You can relate. I know.
I can. Oh my God.
There's late night. What? Like,
what? Late night.
Stanford, so it was kind of, it was amazing because I feel like I kind of got to be young again. That had a bit of looking back. I'm like, all right, it wasn't my best water polo year. I definitely had like the post-Olympic blues in the sense of like, what's next? I'm 19, like it's amazing. I'm at Stanford. This has been my dream as well, but I definitely hit a bit of like a lack of motivation there. And I've always been pretty open and honest about that since I realized it happened.
Yeah, but that's so fair though. Like you won a gold medal at 19 before you even enter college. And then it's like, well, I've been to the mountaintop, and it's that's something that athletes have to go through. Yeah. Like you reach it and then it's like, all right, what do I have now? You're like, okay, NCAA championship, which I never won one. You won 3. So like, good for you.
Well, I think like even with that, with the NC2As, it took me losing one to realize how much I cared about it as well. And like how important it was to me as well.
Do you feel like that was like or not the moment, but like what helped you kind of snap back into being like, I'm motivated. I really want this.
Yeah, I think, well, to take it back to the Stanford part, I think coming in as an Olympian was kind of funny at Stanford because everyone has an amazing story. So like you come in and you're like, cool. Like it's like everyone at your dorm. I was Sarah, Pirates of the Caribbean. And it was like, okay, oh, Maggie went to the Olympics and like has gold medal and it was cool. And then it was like, like blah, 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 is the prince of wherever. And then the next person was like, oh, I've started my own company and done this. And then the next person's like, I lived in Africa and started a fundraiser to, build a new community so that these kids can go to college. And I'm just like, I've done shit. Like, who am I? I'm not cool. Like, who are all these Stanford people who are way cooler than me? So I think it was really humbling. And I think it just was a reminder that everyone has their own story and everyone has their own interesting journey that they've been on. And one's not better than the other, but it's, they're all different. And then, so I think that was really cool at Stanford to have gone through that. So I think if anything, it was the best place for me to go. Obviously like Stanford, I love Stanford and made many friends that year, but definitely I think we lost NC2As that year. And then I joined Team USA again that summer. We went to Worlds and we got 5th. Ooh. And I think especially after those two, it was a big click for me of, okay, I need to do some self-reflection. Like this isn't who I want to be. I've lost a little bit of who I am. You know, I'm motivated, I'm optimistic, I'm passionate, you know, I always give my full effort, you know, and I wasn't necessarily that person. And so for me to have noticed that on such a big stage, you know, was unfortunate, but and it's not like we played that bad. Like we lost in the final at NC2As. Like we got fifth. We won a shootout to get fifth. Just, you know, we had lost against Spain in the quarterfinal in Spain with like 13,000 fans. So it wasn't like this crazy thing happened necessarily. It was like the worst games of our lives or anything, but it was enough for me to reflect and be like, all right, this isn't who I want to be.
Yeah.
So let's figure this out so that when I come back next year, sophomore year at Stanford, I can be a sharp knife again. You know, I'm not a dull knife. I don't like being a dull knife. You know, I want to be a sharp knife, and
nobody wants a butter knife.
No one wants a butter knife. You know, I wanted those nice, like I have one standard. It's like Japanese. I can cut anything.
Exactly.
It's nice beautiful. That's what I want to be.
Totally.
And
it took that.
You gotta sharpen
that
it.
Boy.
Yeah. I was dull. You know, I was like one of those ones you want to just throw out. And so yeah, I think that was a really good learning experience for me though. And then fortunately the next 3 years, you know, we made it happen. So
you sharpened it up and you and you win 3. I read our script for this and I was just like, 3, really? Like I know that Stanford women's volleyball is
I wanted 4.
Come on. I didn't get any and she had 3. Like it kills me when I do these interviews and people have multiple national championships with their college, especially Stanford. So
yeah, hard.
Just incredible. And I love Stanford was the first place that I saw a water polo game. So
Stanford was the first place I saw soccer.
There you go. And so I mean, yeah, I'm like not bad. You had a little bit of a dip, but then
as does everyone.
Exactly. And it's kind of like I feel like as athletes, you have to go through that. It's just that's just part of the journey. Like that's anyone's career. No one's career is just a straight line.
Well, and you said it really well. And like I told you, I like live in metaphors because of my dad, but it does kind of come back to the mountaintop thing. And I went on like a solo trip after the Olympics, or actually after 2017. So after NC2As. And I was in New Zealand. I just went to New Zealand for 3 weeks to like explore and
amazing by yourself.
Yeah. I ended up meeting one of my best friends from Stanford, Jess Chisholm, who was a field hockey player there for a week. And then I did 2 weeks on my own and I went on this hike and I like thought I got to the top and I was so excited because I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I got to the top and I was like, took a selfie. I was like, I made it. And then like in my selfie, I'm like, oh my God, there's another peak. So I was like, all right, okay, I got to keep going. Got to the next peak and like same thing. I did a selfie. So embarrassing too. I like have 8 selfies. And then in the selfie, same thing. I was like, oh my God, there's another peak. And it was like a really cool visual for me to think about my career thus far of every time you think you've gotten to the peak, it's important to take that selfie, you know, in a way and celebrate it and enjoy that you've made it to the top. But there's always another mountain peak for you to climb. And that like has really helped me and really stuck with me. And even after the Olympics in Rio, I remember thinking, all right, I get one more year at Stanford. I was a grandma, but I get one more year at Stanford and I get one more chance at the NC2As. And I want to make sure I'm the Maggie I want to be for the team that I wasn't in 2012, you know, after the Olympics. And I think having that experience my freshman year and then being able to come back as a senior and having that perspective, you know, I was like, all right, there is that other mountain peak and I have so much more to get better. Like I can be so much better than, you know, even winning a gold medal at the Olympics. And it was a really cool ending for me as well for my senior year, like scored the winning goal. Like I never thought that would happen either. Scored like the winning goal with 7 seconds left.
9 seconds left. And you scored 3 goals in that game against UCLA. And that is like, that's insane.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool to, I don't know, be like, okay, you can do it. You can reach a mountain, fall off, come down or whatever, slide down, snowboard down, however you want to get down, but then do it again, but in a different way, you know? That's really stuck with me for sure.
Yeah. I love that. And I think, I mean, again, that's just how that's how sports is. Like there's always a championship. You win one and it's like, all right, you've won it. Now you got to go.
What's next?
Yeah,
Like
win the next
not
one.
what's next, like what can I do, which is kind of where I was. Instead it's like, all right, like
Yeah, let's get after it.
time to improve, room for improvement. Like let's go, you know?
Totally. So you have 2 Olympic gold medals. Do you also, just so everybody knows listening, 2016, you go back, you're captain of the team this time.
Yeah.
You win, you lead the tournament in goals again, and you are named Olympics MVP again. So what is now, you've done this twice. You've done this twice.
Yeah.
And now you're going into the 2021. I think they're calling it 2020 still, Tokyo 2020, but
yeah,
it's
I don't
the
even know
2020
what they're
Olympics.
calling it.
Yeah, I know. We were trying to figure that out.
Whatever. Tokyo Games.
Tokyo. Yeah, the Olympics that are hopefully finally happening. So where are you at right now? Like mentally, physically, what are you feeling?
Oh, nervous.
Are you?
Yeah, but like excited. I wasn't gonna say that, but then when you were talking about it, I like kind of got quiet and I started to get nervous.
Are you nervous because is it the nervous of, ooh, you've had 2 Olympics. I've gone to 2 Olympics. I only have 1 gold medal. You have 2 Olympics, you have 2 gold medals, you have 2 tournament MVPs, you have 2 goal scoring records.
I mean, no, to be honest, that didn't even cross my mind when you were talking about it. Like I nervous in the sense of like, I want us to win. Like I want us to do well. And I want our team to be the team I know we can be. And there's not much time left. And so I'm like nervous because I care so much. And, you know, especially I was fortunate enough to be captain last quad and this quad as well. And, you know, there's that added feeling there, you know, like I think about the team 24/7. And
isn't that crazy? It's like,
yeah,
you care so much.
I just care so much. Like it's wild. And so I think that's why I get like, even when you said that, I got nervous because I was like, my God, like we gotta be ready. And then at the same time, it's like, I got to be ready so that I'm who our team needs me to be, not so that I can do what I've done in the past. Like that doesn't matter. That's the past. What matters now is I'm a different role. I'm a different player than I was in the past. And that's fine. And that's okay. But how can I be my best for the team right now? And I'm not trying to like score a bunch of goals. Like that's not what's on my mind at all. It's, you know, definitely I think there's the pressure and, you know, you remember that we've won. The USA women's team has won or has medaled in every single games, which means since 2000, now that you know that fun fact. And so at the same time, I'm like, well, I want to make sure I'm a good leader and make sure we lead our team to what our alumni, what the women have done before us have done. Like they've created this legacy and now we've got to raise it, you know, and which is like women's sports to a T, right? So I think for me, that's kind of where those nerves come from is like, I want to perform at my best for our team so that our team, you know, can get to live out their dream, you know? And there is a girl like me in 2012 can have that Olympic dream be a reality because of the older women who took that pressure from me that I didn't even realize. So how can I now in 2021 do that for my teammates as well? So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm nervous. We're in it. We haven't been able to play any games. We talked about that I think on the last podcast. But hopefully we have some countries coming here to get some friendlies in and, we have one tournament before the Olympics. So hopefully it happens. And I'm just looking forward to games. Like we've only been competing against ourselves. And so it'll be nice to see where we're at and compared to other countries again.
For sure. I have no doubt that you will be able to lead your team to where you guys need to go, should go, are worthy of going. And I'm really excited to watch you guys compete this summer. It's going to be awesome. And it's I'm so glad we got to have this chat before you go to the Olympics so that everybody can be watching you guys.
I appreciate it. hopefully some more people will learn about water polo,
Totally.
and
it's like such an exciting
I'm all about
sport.
growing the sport.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have so much respect for, I'm like, I have no idea how you guys do it, but I would certainly drown, and I'm a pretty good swimmer, but I would not handle the physicality of it.
It's all right. None of us should be, allowed on the soccer field or anything at this point. So we're total water creatures.
That is
Although
true.
in 2012, me and Mel would watch, because I learned about you from Mel. She was like, these are all the Stanford girls.
Yeah.
And in 2012 in London, I remember watching you be like, go Kelley. I didn't know you, but I was like, oh, like she's Stanford,
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks,
and
Mel,
you balled out. Yeah.
for giving the support. All right. We got our repeat questions for the pod that we always do. So the Just Women Sports podcast is presented by Heineken and celebrates women in sports at the top of their game, where each athlete is unique and successful and has a story to tell. So who has been the one person in your life that has had the biggest impact on your career, and why?
Ooh. I want to say my sister.
Yeah.
But the person who gave me my sister are my parents. And so I would say them, and probably even more specifically, just because of the water polo connection, my dad. I mean, even if you listen to this podcast, I like quote him a bajillion times.
Yes,
so
Carlos.
Just Carlos.
Shout out Carlos. Cheers.
Shout out
Carlos.
Carlos. He'll be so excited. Oh man, don't toot his horn too much. But but yeah, I think for me, definitely my dad, just having the values he instilled in our family, and that main value being family and teamwork at such a young age, and always representing our Steffens name and taking that pride and using it to the best of our ability, and his passion. Like, he is the most passionate man I know, and has helped me get to where I am today. And he also gave me all my siblings, like my sibling and my mom, of course. So just my parents giving me the family I have, that's been the most impactful thing for my life, my career, and everything, really.
Oh, I love that. Shout out parents.
Shout out parents. I love you, Mom.
Oh, that's so great. All right. The other OG JWS podcast question is, they say, work hard, get lucky. How much of your success is predicated on luck?
Ooh, I think luck is a real thing, but as my high school t-shirt said when I was captain, and we got to, design the t-shirts, because that was what you do in high school.
I can't wait for this. I can't
wait. We were the Monte Vista Mustangs.
Okay.
Which is a horseshoe.
All right.
We'll see where I'm going,
Lucky.
which is luck.
Yeah.
Luck.
Okay. Yep.
And the thing I always would, or what we wrote on the back, and actually a Post-it I had on my mirror growing up, was make your own luck.
Love it.
Which I am blanking on who has said that many times, but so I think luck is a part of the game, and I've been very lucky and I've been very fortunate. But at the same time, I think if you can have the mindset that you make your own luck, it can help prepare you for the moments you need the luck the most.
Absolutely agree. All right. You got to put a number percentage to it.
Of luck?
Yeah. Luck to hard work.
Oh, what's that song? It's like, you got
it's
8% the 20% skill, 100% reason to remember the win.
Remember the name.
Remember the name. That should be my song.
It should be your song.
100% reason to remember the name.
I think was maybe the band or the.
Gosh, I'm so bad at lyrics, so this isn't good, but I do know that song.
Yeah, I know that song too. That was a jam.
50%.
I definitely listened to that getting ready for games.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that back on our team playlist. We gotta get that in there.
It is a good song. Shout out.
Yeah, you gotta get now. Like, he'll be on the podcast.
Bring him on. Okay, so what's the percentage?
I have no idea, but just to make my coach Adam Krikorian really happy, I'm gonna say 37%, because he believes that's the most randomly used random number.
Interesting. All right.
So I'll give it a go. I don't think that's true, but I'll put a number.
Fair enough. That's the first time we've gotten 37% for luck.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's one. I don't know.
Take it. Yeah. All right. Well, Maggie, thank you for coming on. It's been lovely to talk to you today. I'm so excited our guests get to hear, after listening to this, got to hear everything that that you had to say, because I just feel like you have such a good perspective on team, even individual, just the environment and the culture that creates success. So thank you for sharing your story with us, and good luck.
Thanks for having me.
Summer. Let's go. Team USA. I can't wait to watch. I can't wait to cheer you on.
Dude, yeah, you too.
Maybe if I'm there, hopefully.
I know. I always do that. Even though like us talking about it, you guys didn't see, but I'm on a wood table, and you were like, so how do you feel about this summer? Or like when you're asking how I feel, and no joke, I was like, knock on wood. Like,
there you go.
I got to make the team. Like, I got to be healthy, you know?
Yep.
So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. Can't wait to cheer you on. And I'm excited to hopefully, knock on wood, watch you win another gold.
You too. Thanks.
Sometimes to succeed, you can't do it alone. You need a team that understands your business on a personal level. WIS takes a progressive approach to help you win. Think less calculators, more conversations. WIS is a proud supporter of this podcast and the JWS community. To discover how WIS is more than just an accounting firm, visit wis.com/JWS. That's WISS.com/JWS.